Damn.
Welcome everybody, welcome to the Political Jargon Show. My name is Eddie Quintana. I am the host of the Political Jargon Show. Today is January 21st, 2018. Welcome everyone to the show. So, how is everyone doing today? We're in the middle of a government shutdown. People are blaming everybody but themselves, and I'm going to give into talking about the government shutdown, weighing in my thoughts and opinions, starting a conversation, having a peaceful, free exchange of ideas, and any other label you want to throw out there. Let's get started, shall we? I hope everyone's having a great day. I think I said that already, but I have the chat up for me right now. If you want to, you can go ahead and leave your thoughts in discussion. I will be looking at the chat. Everybody should leave in your thoughts or in the comments if you're watching later. But let's go ahead and start, shall we? So, all right. So we've got a government shutdown. We have a government shutdown once again. So, let's go ahead and give a brief overview of the government shutdown and give you my thoughts and opinions. So, here we go. Ready? So, I'm reading off a CNN article right now. I'm going to stop saying that. Okay. All right. So, 4 to 6 months ago, it looks like, Republicans tried to work on a budget, right? We knew that. That's not surprising. We knew they were working on a budget. 100% knew it. They decided to let CHIP go and decided to not have CHIP funded for some reason. No one knows why. Well, I know why. A lot of smart people know why. A lot of partisan hacks are trying to say that's not the reason why, but it's bullshit. So, they let CHIP go, and then also Trump undoes DACA through executive order. I've been saying that. I want to make sure I'm 100% right. But from what I remember, he undid DACA through an executive order. Tuesday that he's decided, he ended it himself. So it's not even whether or not he ended it through executive order. This was back in September. He ended DACA himself. Okay, so right now what you've got is you've got a budget that needs to get passed for fiscal year 2019. Trump ends DACA. Republicans, a couple months ago, decide not to fund CHIP, even though Paul Ryan is 100% correct. It has bipartisan support. Of course it has bipartisan support. Why wouldn't it have bipartisan support? So then you get up to this deadline of a government shutdown if there is no budget passed. All of a sudden, Democrats want CHIP reinstated and DACA saved. Okay? DACA was going to end in March, but Republicans forced it to end early because Trump ended it himself. And then you've got CHIP, which is being taken hostage, even though it's not supposed to be taken hostage. It's not supposed. It wasn't a hostage. It wasn't a hostage 6 to 8 months ago. It was fine. I never even heard of this program. It's a great program, but I never even heard of it until Republicans decided not to keep funding it. So now you have Democrats who are saying, hey, listen, we want a DACA fix. We want a clean bill on DACA. We would then go to bipartisan negotiations on immigration reform. And we also want CHIP reinstated. Republicans also want CHIP reinstated. And they're saying no fix on DACA, but you're also going to give us the wall. Okay. I don't see how that's fair, but whatevs. So then, what you've got is, so then the deadline comes. The deadline comes, and the House passes it in a couple days before, and then the Senate Friday night at midnight is unable to get it through the Senate. I said that weird. All right. So then, okay, so basically, I'm sorry, I'm so just not focused. I'm getting focused right now. I'm sorry. Just this is just so ridiculous that it's hard to comprehend what exactly happened because it's so ridiculous. Republicans needed leverage in the budget, right? Democrats wanted a DACA fix. Democrats wanted a DACA fix, and what else did they want? What else did they want? I forgot. I mentioned it literally 5 minutes ago. So Republicans had no leverage. All Democrats wanted when DACA ended was a DACA fix. CHIP was fine, and then Republicans stopped funding CHIP because they're using CHIP as leverage. They've taken CHIP hostage. 9 million kids who used that program to get health insurance, they've taken it hostage and left that fate up to... It's not even a fair argument to say Democrats, because Democrats would vote for it. Democrats just don't want to tie it to the budget because they know Republicans are playing politics with CHIP. They know it. If Republicans had it their way and they had 61 senators, 61 Republican senators, they wouldn't fund DACA or CHIP. Both would have been left out of the budget. Everyone knows that. So they don't care, because if they did, Republicans control every branch of the government. House, White House, Senate. Every branch of government, and then the Supreme Court. But the three bodies to pass a law, they control. Since the CHIP program would have been required money, it would have started in the House. The House would have voted for it, passed it right along to the Senate. The Senate would have voted for it. They would have gone to conference hearings, and they could have done this and had it onto Trump's desk in a week. And instead, they didn't do that for 4 months because they needed leverage to get the budget through. They want to put the wall in the budget. Democrats were going to say no to that. So what they do is they end a program that has bipartisan support and everyone in the country can get behind, so that to get the wall, they had to use CHIP as a bargaining piece. And some Democrats bit for it. They went for it, which is highly disgusting. At any point in the last 4 months, CHIP could have been reinstated like that. But Republicans didn't vote for it. Democrats couldn't do that. There is no way that they could do that because they can't get 51 votes on it. They can't put legislation forth because they're not the majority party, is what I'm trying to say. Republicans have to put forth the legislation. I mean, both parties do it, but Republicans could have at any second just said, hey, we're voting on chip today. Oh, wow, look at that. Like, 80 senators voted for it. Wow, okay, let's bring it to joint conference hearings and let's get it to the president. But they didn't do that. So now the government's shut down and everybody's blaming everybody but themselves. So the Democrats are probably going to cave. They're probably going to vote for it without a DACA fix. And then they don't have any leverage for when the deadline is up in March and DACA is just going to go away. It's just going to go away. So the Democrats can't play politics. Republicans went up there and Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell all went out and Tom Cotton all went out there and was like, oh, the children, think of the children. Bitch, any one of you could have done that in the past 4 months. And like I already said, all three of those high-ranking Republicans in the House or in the Senate would have voted for a budget without CHIP being funded if they had a majority of the votes. We all know that. Does anybody really think for more than 5 seconds that Tom Cotton, if there were 61 votes in the Senate, would have been like, yeah, we should fund CHIP? Yeah, that's definitely something I believe in. Yeah. Or Mitch McConnell, or like Bob Dole, or anybody else, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. Do you think any of them would have been like, yeah, CHIP? If we had 61 votes, we definitely would have gone for CHIP. Perfect. Yeah. No, because they didn't do it in the past 4 months. What makes you think that if they had a majority, they just wouldn't? Oh, we forgot about it. I'm sorry, guys. No, it's charades. It's politics. They don't care about CHIP. They just wanted a wall because it's what they promised. They want their base to be happy. So Trump wants his base to be happy. He has a low approval rating. Congress always has a low approval rating. They're trying to get something done. They're playing politics with children's health insurance program. And people are somehow blaming the Democrats on that. I haven't heard any solid argument from anybody else from anybody on the right to blame the Democrats on this. Republicans took CHIP for 4 months, didn't fund it. Trump ended DACA, tied DACA to the budget, put CHIP along with the budget. All Democrats wanted was a DACA fix. And I guess some of them didn't want the wall, or maybe start out smaller than the wall. I mean, it was like, what was it? The Flake, Graham, and Durbin bill that went up or something, and gave Trump like $1.6 billion for border security, proposed a DACA fix, and reinstated CHIP. So you got border security, DACA's got a fix, and CHIP has got funded again. I mean, but I think what went wrong there was you've got something about chain migration and one of those other trigger words that Republicans only say to get their base riled up and upset. So like, yeah, like I haven't heard a good argument. And then of course Paul Ryan had to go up there and talk about how, the government needs to stay open. What about the poor federal workers that aren't going to get paycheck and they're already living paycheck to paycheck? Oh, this shutdown. How dare the Democrats? Oh, the Democrats. How dare they? Even though Republicans literally run on saying, vote for me because government doesn't work and I'm here to bring down government. That's what the Tea Party was about. That's what Pence believes. That's what Tom Cotton believes. That's what the Freedom Caucus in the House believes. Vote for me to get into government so I can tear government down because it doesn't work and I don't believe in it. Now they have to do a 180 and say, the government, it works. Keep it open. Fund these families, these federal workers. My heart hurts for these federal workers. Which, you name me any Republican who is saying that. Paul Ryan, Ted Cruz is probably... I'm surprised I haven't seen Ted Cruz more during this government shutdown. But Paul Ryan, Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton, anybody in the Freedom Caucus in the House, I will show you a clip of them saying, shut the government down in 2013. Shut the government down. I will show you campaign promises that they made about bringing government departments down, like the FDA, the EPA. Just shutting them down, not even reforming them, shutting them down. You don't believe in government. Now they have to do a 180 and say, we do believe in government. It's amazing. And then, of course, you know, all the reasons I just stated, they let CHIP expire. They held on to it for 4 months, didn't do a vote on it when it would have easily passed, waited for this government shutdown deadline to come, pushed DACA, ended DACA, and then somehow converted that DACA was ending in March, which it is, but then blaming Democrats that they wanted a DACA fix now. Well, yeah, it's the budget. You're supposed to leverage each other out to get what you want, and you come up with a compromise. Apparently, Schumer went into the White House yesterday, went in for a couple of hours, and apparently, reportedly, Schumer said, we'll give you the wall, which is something that, you know, like the Democratic base doesn't believe in the wall, doesn't believe it, believe it's a waste of money, believes all these different things. And Schumer, I have a story about Schumer coming up, not necessarily him, but just about the Democrats in general. So I'm no fan of the Democrats, but literally telling Trump, we'll give you the wall, and Trump still reportedly said no. I mean, like, what? Trump doesn't know what he wants. That's another big problem with this, is that Trump doesn't know what he wants. Okay? And then, of course, all the lies about the military. I'm sick and tired and just exhausted from the right telling me that I don't support the military. That I don't... How dare I be against the military? That's just as... that's just as uneducated, uninformed, tired out, plainly stupid criticism. That isn't even a criticism, but it's similar to Democrats who just pull out a ism or a phobic card. You know, they're racist. They're Islamophobic. They're transphobic. They're, you know, sexist. They're misogynist. You know, and yeah, some of them are, but like, first of all, I hate elected Republicans, whether it be in the Senate or the House, or even probably on the state. There's some state officials that I know about that I despise, but a lot of them are not racist, sexist. I just disagree with their policies. There are some that are. Oh, wholeheartedly, I believe that a lot of the Freedom Caucus is probably sexist to some extent. I have no problem saying that, but... And especially the voters of these people, a lot of these voters are not racist or sexist. Now, a lot of the voters for Donald Trump, you know, people can be swayed of that because you have people like Richard Spencer who have said, hail Trump, hail our people, hail victory, you know, right after he won. And then you got, you know, the KKK leader, what's his name? The KKK Grand Wizard, Dragon, Superior Emperor, Supreme Leader, Kangaroo Man or something, you know, Richard something, I forget, Burke, no, that's a senator, but you know who I'm talking about, David Duke, who supports Trump, the KKK, you know, neo-Nazis, openly neo-Nazis, neo-fascists, they support Donald Trump, so Trump is a different bag, you know, but lower down, the lower you go, the Senate, the House, state governorship, state congressional bodies, a lot of them are not racist, and my point of that is Paul Ryan and Donald Trump going out there and saying the left, the Democrats, they hate the military is just as old and stupid and uneducated and tiresome argument as when a Democrat just goes, you're racist or a sexist or transphobic. It's the same argument, and it's old, it's tired, and it doesn't get to anything. What do I have to gain from hating the military? Now, we have to make distinctions here. Do I have some disagreements with the establishment of the military? Yeah. Do I hate and dislike every man and woman that puts on a uniform and goes to fight for my freedom? Absolutely not. On politics, maybe, but not. I don't hate them because they put the uniform on and went and fought in wars. That's not my disagreement. My disagreement is for the shady shit that went down that either Edward Snowden or WikiLeaks or Chelsea Manning released. Those shady shits that went down, whether it be purposely killing innocent civilians, that's not the people who put on the uniform. It's the establishment of the military. It's the heads of the military. It's the people who run the military. And there's a big distinction between that. If I hated the military, I would be, applauding for the death of American soldiers. I mean, let me go ahead and bring it to you like this. So anytime something with the military comes up and, Democrats are like, well, maybe we shouldn't have dropped a nuclear bomb, or maybe we shouldn't have done Vietnam. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with any of these positions. I'm just saying, maybe we shouldn't have done Iraq. Maybe we should stop having 800 military bases around the world. Maybe we should stop dropping 26,000 bombs on average a year. Maybe we should stop with the 800 bases. Maybe we should, Trump shouldn't have loosened the rules of engagement in Somalia. All these different things. Maybe it's not that, like, if anybody makes those arguments, any Republican just goes, well, you hate the military, vote for me, strong military. Believe me, we will have the strongest military ever. The Democrats hate it, believe me. Okay, they're wrong. They hate it. They hate the military. I don't. Tough on crime, tough on borders, strong military, believe me. Okay, what if I flip that 180 and I said, you hate the military for wanting them to go into a country that didn't attack us and waging an illegal war so that American lives would be lost? How dare you support something like that? You must hate the military. No, you don't hate the military. You have those bumper stickers that say support our troops. You think the American flag is the greatest thing invented since fire and cheese, and doing anything during the national anthem except putting your hand over your heart, which, side note, that doesn't make sense because I'm not making a pledge. Sure, it's a sign of respect, but I'm not going to do it because I'm not making a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, that's a pledge. Oh, say, can you see? That's a song. I'm not... I'll look at the flag, I'll put my hands behind I'll sing along, but I'm not making a pledge. Just a little side note. I would get criticized from Republicans for that. How dare you hate the flag? No, you missed my entire point, but whatever. So you give X number of reasons, and they just say you hate the military. Whether it be like, oh, I hate illegal wars, I hate the military-industrial complex, how there's always wars because they need to make profits and all these different things and stuff. I apologize about that. We had some difficulties. Well, not difficulties. We just had an interruption. No big deal. So you lay out any reason about, I hate the military, or no, I don't hate the military. I just don't like how we wage illegal wars and we're in 8 different countries and we're wasting, half our federal deficit or half our spending budget on the military when we have a crumbling infrastructure. People, are foreclosing on homes and because of student loan debt or medical bankruptcies and, minimum wage, all these different other issues that we have. We should probably stop. Oh, you hate the military, huh? No, I don't. Shut up. So this whole government shutdown thing is kind of ridiculous. And also, let me just go ahead and make this point. I think I made this point already, but I'm pretty sure I've made this point already, but I just want to really hammer it home real quick. I want to make sure that this is what the video I want to show.
Guess what? Tax reform is working.
Shut up, Paul Ryan.
It really is. It's working for families. It's working for businesses. Tax reform is working for our economy. If the Senate Democrats want to shut the government down, or if the Senate Democrats want to deny funding for our troops, if the Senate Democrats want to stop CHIP funding for unrelated issues, that's a choice they would make. I don't think it's a good choice for them to make, but that would be their decision to make.
Now, let me just be sure to say to you that even if not one dreamer ever existed, we still have a problem on the budget side of this. Now, this isn't something that dreamers are holding up. And in the CR, as I say, it's about what isn't in there to help meet the health needs of the American people. In terms of all of this, just their CR is so ill thought, well, I shouldn't even use the word thought, ill suggested, that they may not even have 51 Republicans in the Senate voting for it. The televised bipartisan meeting last week, he said...
Right, that's another point by Nancy Pelosi. They didn't even have 51 Republicans vote for it. Like, that's a big deal. People understand how big of a deal that is, right? They didn't even have 51 Republicans vote yes for this budget. Like, how is it Democrats' fault again? Now, I'm not carrying water for Democrats. I think I started of the position, it's the GOP, it's the Republicans. I think there are logical points to be made about why, and I think it's logical for people to think that it's those things because of X, Y, and Z of what I laid out before. They held CHIP for 4 months. DACA wasn't a problem until March, but they decided to make it a huge problem back in September when Trump ended it. And they didn't even have 51 votes in the Senate to get it passed. They got 50 votes, and that was with like 4 or 5 Democrats. So, like, it's just, like, if anything, it's a bipartisan shutdown. It's everybody. I think John McCain and Paul Ryan said it best. 2 Republicans. It's everybody. It's everybody's fault. And I think that's a true statement. It is everybody's fault. Now, a lot of the problems that are happening right now because of the shutdown and a lot of the reasons why this shutdown happened could have been avoided if Republicans played fucking ball. But they didn't. And so Democrats also just kind of were going to say no anyways on no matter what. I mean, Nancy Pelosi said it there. If not one dreamer existed, there's still many problems with the budget. And there are many problems with the budget, but it's not for any of these reasons that these schmucks are going to lay down. Nothing Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer says is going to, it's, if any dreamer didn't exist, there would still be problems with the budget. Yeah, but like I'm going to get to a story here in a second, you still would vote for it. Like, I don't think people understand how the Democrats are voting for Trump's policies, even though they're the resistance. Like Trump got a huge win. Let's move on to my second story. I think the government shutdown took a majority of the time. Okay, so the shutdown kind of took over the news media cycle, but this is very, very important. House and Senate Democrats voted to increase warrantless spying on Americans. The Washington Examiner reports that in the Senate, they usually have a list. It needed 60 votes. It got 60 votes. That means 60 to 38. That means 2 didn't vote. John McCain didn't vote, and I think someone for the Democrats didn't vote. But let's go ahead and take a look at this article. The Senate just barely advanced legislation on Tuesday to reauthorize a key counterterrorism surveillance tool after Republicans and Democrats demanded more privacy protections for U.S. citizens. The bill, a 6-year reauthorization of Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, passed in the House last week, but it was less clear whether the Senate would agree to end the debate on the bill on Tuesday. 3/5 of voting senators were needed to end debate and head toward a final vote on the bill, and the Senate just barely found the votes. The Senate voted 60 to 38 to advance the legislation. The vote, which was open for almost an hour and a half, was stuck at 58-38 for several minutes as senators lobbied the remaining votes for and against the bill. Senator John Kennedy, Republican of Louisiana, was one of those senators, and he ultimately voted in favor of the bill. Another was Senator Claire McCaskill, Democrat of Missouri, I think, and she also voted for it. Now, she's an interesting case. All right, so let me go ahead and just pull up this video of let's see if it comes up. Because so she's of Missouri. She is an interesting case because
I was
this was yesterday. She comes up here, right? She comes up here and she brings up a resolution, kind of like a proclamation. I don't know how the Senate works exactly. She's talking about how the government is shut down, and so it's not fair. So Democrats are bringing up a bill right now. She is. The government's shutting down. It's a tragedy. So to make sure that we do this, we're bringing up a bill that will fund the military in case it goes on longer than their pay. I think on February 1st, they're supposed to get paid. If the government shut down till then, they won't get paid. So this Senator McCaskill is bringing up a bill that is suggesting if the government is still shut down, the military will get paid. It's going to be set in stone because I'm bringing up this bill right now, right? So she's just giving this speech.
Disappointed tonight when the President of the United States put out a statement that tried to divide us based on party when it came to support of our military. There is no such division. Everyone in this chamber knows it. And so as we have in other instances where we have had a shutdown, I remember in 2013 we did this right off the bat. I want to make sure that tonight we send a very clear signal that we don't want one moment to pass with there being any uncertainty of any soldier anywhere in the world that they will be paid for the valiant work they do on behalf of our national security.
So as she said, she's done this before. Sorry, it was on the wrong screen. Of course it was. I'm stupid. So she's saying, listen, we've done this before. 2013, we did it right off the bat. The military is going to get paid if the government shutdown is longer than expected, yada, yada, yada. Okay? So she gives her speech.
Made and laid upon the table with to reconsider the third time and passed, and the motions to services be considered and agreed benefits for members appropriation at the desk H.R. 1301 of calendar number 36 consent that the Senate proceed to 30. I ask unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of calendar number 36 H.R. 1301 that the amendment at the desk for continuing appropriations for pay and death penalty benefits for members of the armed services be considered and agreed to. The bill as amended be considered read a third time and passed, and the motions to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
So that was just political jargon for, hey, listen, this bill, it's on the desk. Let's read it one more time and just pass it. Unanimous consent, 100 votes. Military and people who are a part of the military and like the death or whatever she said, the people who are ill and dying, they'll get paid. I guess those would be like the resources, the hospitals that the military use. Those will all be paid until the government reopens. And when the government reopens, this bill is no longer in effect because the government's open and they're going to get paid no matter what. So as the government is shut down, we will support you. We will pay you. You think unanimous consent.
Is there objection?
Mr. President, reserving the right to object. We passed similar legislation during the government shutdown back in 2013. My hope is that we can restore funding for the entire government before this becomes necessary. I'm going to object for tonight, but we'll discuss again tomorrow. Therefore, I object.
Objection is heard.
And then Mitch McConnell objects to the legislation that has already been passed to make sure the military will get paid. Now, I'll give credit where credit is due. The argument he made is a solid one, and a lot of people will bite it, and a lot of people will believe it. But it doesn't fucking matter. My hope is that the government will be fully operational by the time the government. My hope is that the government will be fully open and paid for, and so I don't believe this legislation is needed. Therefore, I object, and therefore I object. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a good argument. Yeah, I hope the government's open by that point too. But people on your side are literally saying we hate the military. You just open it up for the Democrats to say we hate the military. We propose legislation to make sure that they get paid in case this goes on longer than expected, and you objected to it. You objected to it, even though it's been done before. Ooh, that is dirty. That is dirty. That is disgusting. That's literally disgusting. And yet Republicans will still win on the debate, the side of communications and pushing their narrative out about the government shutdown, about how people on the left hate the military. Damn it, they hate the military. And that's what they do. That's what them communists do, man. They hate the military. It's so depressing. And so she does something as decent as this. Senator McCaskill does something as decent as this, and then turns around and gives Trump more unregulated, unchecked, warrantless spying, breaking your Fourth Amendment right. It's unbelievable. As Secular Talk says, the Mick resistance, the we're going to censor Trump over saying shithole country, but then we're going to give him more ability and more power to unwarrantedly, without a warrant, just spy on you through the FBI and the NSA. It's just absolutely ridiculous. All of those people who voted, 20 Democrats who voted, 19 Democrats who voted in favor of it, including McCaskill, need to get primaried. And then see, even Schumer, right? Even Schumer did something reasonable and voted against it. You know, it's not even reasonable. It's just duh. She voted against it, but he still said shit like this. Ready? The spying tool allows intelligence officers to search communication of non-citizens outside of the U.S., also for citizens inside the U.S. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat of New York, led Democrats in opposition to the bill. Schumer said the 6-year length of the reauthorization is too much and should include longer debate and opportunity to make changes. We ought to have some amendments and some discussions, Schumer said. The bill includes moderate reforms authored by both House Intelligence and Judiciary Committees in league with the Senate Intelligence Committee. Those reforms proved to be just enough to win bipartisan support and needed to advance. So, again, I'm still pissed at Schumer for this, even though he voted against it, by saying the problem with the bill was that it goes on for 6 years. No, the problem with the bill is that it went on at all, and that it's going to be going on for 6 years. Yes, that's the problem, but it's a problem because it's already been happening, and it shouldn't be getting 6 years again. Like, that's the problem. Schumer needs to get primaried. Pelosi needs to get primaried. Manchin, Heitenkamp, Feinstein, all of them in the Senate need to get. Well, Pelosi's in the House, obviously, but all of them in the Senate needs to get primaried. Pelosi needs to get primaried. It's just bad. It's just bad. We are the resistance to Trump. But here, we're gonna vote for this thing that he wants and give him more power to survey us and stuff. And then, of course, the one guy, a part of the Republican Party that doesn't give me a headache is Rand Paul. Many innocent Americans get caught up in that. Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky said before the vote, should the government be allowed to search this database to prosecute you for not paying your taxes or a minor marijuana violation? It's gathered lawfully for foreigners. Opponents of the bill said there is no need to pass legislation immediately because the intelligence community actually has the authority to use the spy tool until the end of April. That's also a good point. Again, it's like DACA. It's a false... Republicans made the claim DACA ends in March. Stop prioritizing DACA right now. It doesn't end. Okay, well, this is another clear example. Doesn't end till April. Stop prioritizing it, right? DACA was, again, different, though, because he ended it. He ended it. Trump ended it himself. It's not like Trump was like, all right, we're going to end this now, and then they had to, vote on it. It's different. So this whole just past 48, 72 hours, this whole past 72 hours has been ridiculously crazy and ridiculously hypocritical on both sides, and we're in a mess, guys. We're in a mess. I'm going to go. So that was my live show for today. I needed to talk about this shutdown and the FISA surveillance thing. I'll leave you on some clips that I love about this government shutdown, though, because if Trump says one thing today, he said the opposite 4 years ago. And it's blatant hypocrisy, and it's great, and I love it. And so we'll start with my favorite one, which is this one down here.
But who's going to take the blame down? I mean, in the boardroom here, who's getting fired? Who's going to bear the brunt of the responsibility if indeed there is a shutdown of our government?
Well, if you say who gets fired, it always has to be the top. I mean, problems start from the top, and they have to get solved from the top, and the president's the leader, and he's got to get everybody in a room, and he's got to lead, and he doesn't do that. He doesn't like doing that. That's not his strength, and that's why you have this horrible situation going on in Washington. It's a very, very bad thing, and it's very embarrassing worldwide.
You guys heard that, right? It's very embarrassing worldwide. Okay, and then he's on Hannity.
Now, one other thing. Obama is all about, he wants legacy. He wants to have this great reputation in 20 years and 50 years and 100 years.
Right.
They're not going to be 50 years and 100 years.
Right.
They're not going to be talking about Boehner and Reid and all. They're going to be talking about President Obama and what a disaster the administration was. So he does have a lot of pressure to get this problem solved.
The president has a lot of pressure to get this problem solved. He just said down here, it's always the top. Problems start at the top, and they get solved from the top. And the president's the leader, so he should solve this. And
We're having a hell of a time trying to negotiate here in Washington. So tell me, if you were president, what would you do?
Well, very simply, you have to get everybody in a room. You have to be a leader. The president has to lead. He's got to get Mr. Boehner and everybody else in a room, and they have to make a deal. And you have to be nice and be angry and be wild and cajole and do all sorts of things, but you have to get a deal. And unfortunately, he's never been a deal maker. That wasn't his expertise before he went into politics. And It's obviously not his expertise now. But you have to get the people in a room and you have to get a deal that's good for everybody and good for the country.
Do you have a sense, though, both sides want a deal? Now, Speaker Boehner says he wants a deal. He accuses the president and the Republican leader in the Senate of not negotiating. They say they have such a strong position that they don't want to deal. So how do you get someone who doesn't think he needs to deal to deal?
Well, I don't think the president does have such a strong position. I think the strongest position they have is that the Republicans are bickering and they don't seem to get along. They're not unified. If the Republicans were unified, they would have the cards. But the fact is that the president, in 20 years from now and in 100 years from now, when you talk about the Obama administration, they're not going to be talking about Boehner. They're not going to be talking about Reid. They're not going to be talking about any of these people. They're going to be talking about Obama. And in terms of legacy, I think it's very important for him to make a deal and to get it done. I also think the Republicans are pretty steadfast. I know the Speaker very well, and he's a smart guy and a tough guy, and I know he wants to do well for the country and do what's right for the country. And frankly, I think the Republicans are going to be a lot tougher to make a deal with.
So, just flip the words, update it. The president, you know, in 20 years, 100 years, they're not going to be talking about, you know, he said Reid, so Schumer. They're not going to be talking about Schumer. And he was talking about Boehner, so McConnell, or no, Ryan. They're not going to be talking about Schumer. They're not going to be talking about Paul Ryan. You're going to be talking about me, Donald Trump, in 20 years, 100 years. So this is my problem, and it's great. So that was the ending of the show, the massive hypocrisy, how everybody's just wrong. So, yeah, I hope to do another video soon. Maybe the government shutdown will go on. I love talking about this government shutdown because, like, just the point alone, I think if people on the Democrats went, if Chuck Schumer went up on a podium right now and said, all right, let me be quick, I'm not answering any of your questions, which he did. He did say that, but he went on to talk about something else. But if he did that again, he went up to a podium and he said, listen, I'm not going to be taking your questions. I just need to make a quick point. Maybe start off with the normal. We went in there, we discussed, we have a few things to lay out. It's not looking good or whatever, or blah, 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 blah. But then he goes, I just want to make clear that make sure that the people of America know the Republicans don't believe in government. They don't. They don't believe in government. They never have. The Tea Party, the Freedom Caucus, they ran on the don't tread on me people. They ran on the government is taking too many of my rights. Vote for me for government so I can get on the inside of government to make sure it fucking fails and make sure government... I don't believe in government. I don't believe government should exist. I don't think government should be a thing. I don't believe in it. So let me get the power of government so I can tear it down. They don't believe in the government. Now they're telling you that they want the government open. They believe in it. The federal workers that are hurting, this one's going to hurt the military, all these different things. It's dumb talking points. Don't believe them. A lot of them don't believe in government itself. Don't believe them. I would applaud him. I would absolutely applaud Chuck Schumer if he did that, but he's not going to do that. Republicans are probably going to win. It'll be interesting to watch DACA unfold in the next couple of days. The wall is probably going to get built, which I would be fine with if we did something for, the immigrants, the illegal immigrants here, but they're not going to do anything other than deport them. And people are okay with that. Some aren't. I think there are massive downsides to just deporting everybody, no questions asked, instead of going on an individual basis. And, I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch DACA. Democrats are going to probably cave, even though they have the leverage on them. Everybody wants CHIP. I hope CHIP gets open. That sucks that Republicans didn't vote on it, 2 months ago to make sure it got funding instead of waiting for now for it to get funding so that they can just pass, their immigration plan basically in the budget. It's a good way to play politics, but man, that is a shitty thing to do to 9 million kids. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Interesting to watch. We're probably gonna this last year it was a lot about taxes and healthcare. I feel like this year you're gonna be watching a lot of immigration, probably a lot. Immigration, I think the economy is always something to watch out for, but you're also going to start seeing infrastructure soon. I believe that's going to come up. Got a lot of things to watch out for, and of course the Mueller the Mueller investigation. Got to watch out for Betsy DeVos and Jeff Sessions and what they say about education for Betsy DeVos and, marijuana, the devil's lettuce, the devil's grass. Watch out for them and him. And, so a lot of interesting developments, and I'll be talking about all of them when I get the free time. I hope everyone has a great day. I'll see you guys at the next show, and peace. Bye.